Blaze national correspondent Julio Rosas spent the last week traveling across South America alongside Secretary of Homeland Security Kristi Noem. And she met with presidents, ministers, and top dignitaries. And we always love catching up with Julio. So let's go ahead and do that right now, because Julio, I want to just play a game of where in the world is Carmen Sandiego? That is you these last few months. You've been all over. So let's get into this trip. What was this trip all about? Why did Kristi Noem want to travel to South America?
The main reason was to sign deals in Argentina, Chile, and Ecuador. And the reason why that's important is because the Trump administration, they're taking advantage of having a secure border. So it's more than just obviously having the infrastructure, having the personnel and the funding to secure our border, but now they're going to go out to places where there has been illegal migration and sign deals so that there's better cooperation between the United States and each of those countries. And that's significant because South America, it's a big continent. We have countries that are friendly to us, and there are countries that are very antagonistic towards us. And so even a country like Chile, whose president is far to the left, he understands the importance of having public safety being addressed, because he is going to run for, seemingly he's going to run for another term. And so they've had problems with immigrants like from Venezuela and dealing with Tren de Aragua even before the United States did. So even though, as an example, a country like that may not like Trump on a number of issues, they do want to work with the United States because, as with like an example for Chile, they are in the Visa Waiver Program and they have to meet certain thresholds. And so they don't want to lose that very coveted status for its citizens. So in my view, it was very successful. It was obviously very cool to go to those places and see kind of how the different areas are and how they worked. And really, it was to just show that this administration, like the previous one, they're actually going to one, show up, but then also two, actually work with each of these countries for our benefit, but also for their benefit as well.
Julio, let's talk about countries that we're friendly with, like Argentina first, and drill into that. I mean, going to see Milei, this is someone who is almost a celebrity on the right throughout the world, right? And this is a country rare in South America where Trump has a real ally. So was that trip about deals as well, or was that just sort of a ceremonial, meet and greet? Hey, how's it going? We're all friends here.
No, I mean they signed the most deals with Argentina. They signed three. It's three agreements, and it ranged from putting Argentina back on track to be part of the Visa Waiver Program. They got removed from it in 2002 after many Argentinians overstayed their allotted time in the United States. And they also signed agreements to streamline the repatriations and to ensure that if we're sending a hardened criminal back to Argentina, that they're then not immediately released back into that country so that they can then maybe potentially leave and try to come back to the United States. So that was pretty significant just because of the number of deals. Chile and Ecuador was only one deal was signed. But it was probably, yeah, we spent the most time within the week, right? We spent about like a day and a half total in Argentina, whereas the other countries was about 24 hours each. And that was because of our more friendly relationship with the president there.
Well, you mentioned Chile and their president being very far left. How was it with the cooperation that they saw there, and the fact that they're just going through and trying to make deals while Secretary Noem is down there?
Well, like I said, one of the main things that they signed with Chile was having a new biometrics program to basically continue to be a full integration with the country and its version of the FBI. And so it's called, the acronym is BITMAP, and it is a database for basically an international database with gang members, terrorists, suspected terrorists, things of that nature, so that our law enforcement and their law enforcement can both access it and share information through there. So that if, for example, someone is trying to leave that country to come to the United States and they get flagged in that system, they can be prevented from leaving that country and potentially be taken into custody before they even leave the airport. So that's why it's significant, because like I said, there's a lot of, it's not just Tren de Aragua, but also MS-13 and kind of the other local gangs in that region as well. And so they touted two apprehensions during the event there about how they prevented a TDA and MS-13 gang member from being able to reach the United States.
What about Ecuador? I understand you kind of have to you have to explain the Visa Waiver Program in order to explain what went down right in Ecuador, and explain why it's necessary for them to accept Venezuelans.
Yeah, so that one is significant because the main thing that was agreed upon there was having a liaison from Ecuador to be into the Customs and Border Protections Information Center here in the States. So again, just better streamlining of data and information between the two countries. But the main thing that I found interesting was that during the course of Secretary Noem's conversations with the president, she asked them if they'd be willing to accept Venezuelans into if the administration can't deport Venezuelans that are here illegally back to Venezuela because a number of reasons. Then they can say, well, here's the third country that we can send them back to, so that they can basically be there instead of back in their country of origin. And that's significant because again, South America is not a stranger to having Venezuelans outside of Venezuela. I mean, a lot of the Venezuelans that have come to the United States within the past few years, a lot of them came from other countries in Latin America. Same thing with Haitians as well. So as if we're able to create these agreements with these other countries that already have experience to send non-hardened criminal Venezuelans back to South America, I mean, that's a win for the Trump administration domestically, because they can then get around kind of the lawfare that's happening and say, well, you can't send them back to Venezuela. It's too dangerous. And say, okay, well, since they don't have a legal right to be here, they can at least go to a country that's a little bit more familiar than staying here in the United States and abusing the asylum process.
Can I just ask what do we do in return in that case? So for Ecuador, are we just telling them, hey, you need to accept Venezuelans? I mean, is there a quid pro quo here?
Secretary Noem did not get into that. It's still very early in the stages because right now is just like a verbal, hey, would you be willing to do this? Yes, we're open to it. But she said that they're still working on it, and that's significant because the more agreements that are made in that region, it puts pressure on places like Colombia and Brazil, who are definitely headed by governments that do not like us. And Secretary Noem even said that the Colombian president Petro, he has not been very cooperative on cracking down on the cocaine trafficking business, which is very, very significant in that country. And with Ecuador, a lot of the cocaine that comes from Colombia to get to the United States, it goes through Ecuador. So we are going to be sharing information on how to secure their northern border with Colombia, so that they can, intercept either it's the people or the drugs before it even reaches the United States. So I think to answer your question, Matt, I think it's going to be one of the ways to reciprocate that is kind of the trade secrets on how to secure the border, because obviously our border right now is very secure.
Well, I do like all this that you're saying, right? We all want them to go down back to South America. If that's going to be an option, we are all for it. Now, you did say that Kristi Noem is still trying to work out some of these deals. So if we do have the deportation partnerships that are going to be out there, how quickly do we actually think that some of these could start getting implemented?
Well, it depends on a number of factors, right? It depends on how soon these deals can actually be ironed out. It depends how quickly ICE can be staffed up when it comes to their new recruitment goal, because right now they're trying to get to 10,000 new agents. DHS has, while we were on the tour, literally right in the middle of it, the DHS launched its new campaign for recruitment, and apparently it's been very successful. They already have 1,000 job offers to people who have recently applied to just ICE. So I guess that's pretty significant. So I understand people are kind of impatient on when mass deportations can truly start, but I mean, I would say that it's an everyday thing, right? I mean, the Trump administration understands that this issue was one of the top issues, if not the top issue, for the reason why he was able to make such a big comeback. And so, unfortunately, it doesn't happen overnight. And as we've seen, not just with the lawfare, but we also have to work again with these foreign governments that the Biden-Harris administration was more than happy to ignore. So we kind of have to also just redo these relationships and to put the countries on notice that, like, hey, you were able to take advantage of the United States for the past 4 years. That's not going to fly anymore. You're going to deal with somebody who, yes, you will make a deal with us, and we're going to be on top of you to make sure that you hold up your end of the deal. And I think those countries know that, at least the ones that are more friendly towards us. So I think it's going to take a little bit of time. But I can tell you, we're certainly headed in a much better direction than we were even 2 years ago.
Julio, I mean, I think it's so important that we sent you out there, and this trip was so important because this is our hemisphere. And I think a big part of the reorientation of foreign policy, when you look at the big picture, ought to be to stop looking at the Middle East, to stop looking overseas, and to start to pay attention to what's going on with our actual neighbors, with all the issues revolving around that actually impact all Americans. And so very important work that went on there. But you were also, there on this wild trip, this crazy tour for a few days. So I'm sure there's got to be some interesting things that happened that you didn't report, in your stories. Any interesting highlights that you can reveal to us from behind the scenes from being on the trip?
Well, I mean, I would say that it was a good time in the sense of, again, just being able to see how everything kind of works behind the scenes. Even when it comes to things that are kind of semi public, right? When it comes to like these types of events, I would say that with Ecuador, we were at the presidential palace waiting to leave because we had a scheduled time and we're part of the motorcade. So it's like, okay, we have to be back in the van. It was at like 1:05 and we were ready to leave. Well, apparently the conversation that Secretary Noem was having with the president and his ministers went so well, the we didn't leave until an hour and a half post that original departure time. So that was it just kind of shows that when we arrive, when the United States arrives to these countries, especially when it comes to an administration that actually wants to have American strength and American sovereignty, people want to take advantage of when we do make the effort to fly all the way down to South America. I mean, it is a little bit long. I mean, from DC to Argentina is about 12, 13 hours. From Ecuador, it's about 5. So, I mean, Secretary Noem is leading a department that's under a lot of scrutiny, has a lot of attention towards it. So they want to take advantage of the time, the face-to-face time that they're able to have, because obviously she's not going to be able to go down to that continent every other week or something like that. So I thought that was interesting. And also just the fact that, again, even with Chile, even though, yes, the government in general doesn't like a lot of things that Trump does, they understand the importance of working with us on this just because, again, they know that the Trump administration is serious. They know that we're not going to lose sight of the importance of this topic. And so I would just say that people we're very good. We're very good and actually attentive to what Secretary Noem was saying, what the message was coming from President Trump.
Well, Julio, in the time that we have left, I want to ask you about a question. This is all over the news right now, right? There's a Democrat congresswoman. She was down in Mexico City, and she was saying that she is a proud Guatemalan before she's even an American. I have to get your thoughts on this crazy story that we keep seeing all over the place.
I mean, it is very frustrating. It is very frustrating to see someone say that because this is not just some random person, right? This is a member of the United States Congress in a foreign country talking about how they're so proud to be from another country, first and foremost, and then, yeah, maybe as an afterthought, I'm also American as well. I mean, I hate to pull like the race card or the heritage card, but like as a Latino, it's beyond idiotic. It's beyond idiotic because here you have, a very winning the lottery of being born in the United States, and you're going to grow up and you're going to actively work to undermine it from an institution from within, and you're going to brag about it in another country at an event that was very antagonistic and very demeaning towards the United States. I'm far from the only person to have said this, but this is an example of somebody who needs to be denaturalized and deported immediately. If you love Guatemala that much, then yeah, vaya con Dios, go with God, and don't come back.
Mic drop there. Julio Rosas, thanks so much for your time. We're glad you made it back to North America, back to the United States. Always good to see you.
Thank you.